Com. Welcome to wesleygospel.com. I'd like to put a little entry in here about Little House on the Prairie, that TV show from the 1970s. I've always been a fan of this show, even though the stories were written by a little girl and they were originally catered towards to be little girl stories. Um, Michael Landon, the touch that he put on it in the show definitely made it appealing to men as well. And really, he did his best, I think, to try to make it appealing to the entire family, to make it a family show. And I really highly recommend uh, watching this show all the way through at least once with your family. Um, this this is definitely a case of biblical economics. In fact, I really can't think, and I've watched quite a bit of stuff, TV shows, movies. I can't really think of any more clear example of biblical economics on a TV program than Little House on the Prairie, because you have the frugality and you have the simplicity and you have the diligence and you have the golden rule and all this stuff working against at times the Machiavellian capitalism that surrounds them with other people. So this is really a really great example. When I say that, I mean the Ingalls family. All right, Charles Ingalls, Carolyn Ingalls, the way they're trying to live is basically the old Puritan work ethic. Even though they're in the 1870s, the ethic that they're following is the same thing that was handed down by Richard Steele and the religious tradesmen. The same ethic of the Puritan work ethic is there, and uh, and it seems that it had traveled into the Midwest by that point. Um, Not to say it wasn't in other parts of the country, but uh, I gotta say I love this show. I'm going through the second binge. The first binge that I had of it was when I was in college. It came on the Hallmark Channel, and I used to. Uh, it stagged my attention for some reason. It was probably because of the manly characters like uh, Charles Ingalls and Mr. Edwards that I had gotten attracted to the show because I could really relate to these guys. The faith in providence, the independent man, just the self-made man, the rags to riches theme, and all the troubles that they have to go through and fight them and overcome them as a family. It's really in the faith that they have, it really is biblical economics. And there's so many episodes that deal with subjects of personal finance, frugality, job loss, prices, credit. I mean, there's so many personal finance subjects in that show. You'd have to be blind and deaf to not be able to see the personal finance over that entire TV show. And I've never read any of the book series, but um, I'm sure it's all over there as well. So, uh, and it can be kind of funny at times, the figures they use, like a dollar, $2, or maybe even $4 is considered a whole lot of money in the show, and that's kind of funny. $50 is considered like, oh my gosh, it's like 2,000, maybe even $4,000. But it's kind of funny to hear them throw out such small dollar amounts and just keep a straight face when they're talking. Um, and It's almost as if to illustrate that money's not important. You know, this is how small we estimate money in this show. Um, because the family in God is a billion times more important. Um, and It's just a really, really great portrayal. Now, are there other shows that have come close to this? No, there's not. In terms of illustrating biblical economics, because it's focused on the Christian family. It's focused on the Christian family, and in terms of Puritan teaching on the Christian family, on Christian parenting, which does fall into the economics category. The only Puritans I've known that have really taught on that at length are William Gouge and maybe a little bit of Richard Baxter. And William Gouge had written a book series called Domestical Duties, which was recently republished, um, called Building a Godly Home. Three volumes, and you basically see these aspects in Charles Ingalls. Um, Now, catechism is not something you see Charles Ingalls doing in the family room, but this is something at least the 17th century Puritan fathers did. They had family room meetings where the dad had a Bible on his lap, and his family sat around him maybe at the dinner table or something, and he would teach them from the Bible. You do see this a little bit, but it's being misused in the movie East of Eden, where Adam, the father, has the Bible and he has his son sitting at the table and he's got the Bible, but he's misusing it because he's abusive, right? But the Puritans were taught to not be like that. They were taught to be more like Charles Ingalls, be nurturing and explaining the Bible to their family as they went through it. So that element is missing in Little House on the Prairie, but I mean every other aspect of that, and I can see why they probably didn't put that in there because Charles or Michael Landon was a universalist. He believed that essentially all religions lead to God and stuff like that, which is crazy because he's portraying a devout evangelical Bible believing Christian man in that show. He was raised Jewish, secular Jew, I would imagine, and eventually came out as a universalist. So, but in any case, uh, the show is still really great. It's gritty as well. I mean, it's so gritty. If after you've watched maybe say 25 to 50 episodes of this show, you could understand that a Metallica song could just as well be the opening theme song for this show. I mean, it's just like they've got these cute little girls, you know, hopping down the meadow, on every episode. It's like, oh, that's cute. But if you really understand what the show is about, all the negativity and death that they encounter in the show, I mean, you just, take out that little, nice little orchestra music and put a Metallica song in there. I mean, because it's such a heavy metal show. The show is heavy metal. I mean, I'm not kidding. I mean, it is so dark at times, it's unbelievable, but it's a really good show, and I can see why it received Emmy awards for, dramatic elements anyway. But it's not that, it's the biblical economics element about it. It's so great, and I'm trying to rack my brain as I'm talking about this. I can't think of any other. I just simply can't think of any other. Not even movies about the Pilgrims. I can't think of any example from Hollywood where biblical personal finance is constantly put in your face. And that's it. That's it. That is the best example of a Hollywood production where the elements of Richard Steele are coming out in the show. Religious tradesman. Let's see, I'm going to run through here. Having a calling, being diligent, honest, hard work, being fair and just, being kind with the golden rule, being honest, being content. You don't have to be a millionaire. You can be content. Avoiding debt, avoiding working for other people, all that stuff. All those are all Puritan business values. And I really honestly can't think of one single movie, not even one single movie. Maybe Cromwell in a really detached way from the 1970s. Maybe. But that's still a war movie. That's it, man. Little House on the Prairie. God bless you out there. This is John with WesleyGospel.com.